Hi, this is Benjamin Davidson, and this is my fifth video response for Education 220. I chose the first prompt, which is look into why integrate technology, file, and choose an article or presentation. Once you're done reading, watching, or listening, answer the question, how, what, and why will you integrate technology to make your instruction more effective to students? One of the things the thing that I watched for this, the thing that I watched for this prompt was the Ken Robinson talk, TED Talk, which I found to be fascinating and really quite beautiful. He's an amazing speaker, and he raises some really interesting points about um, linearity in education and sort of possible flaw that we have, or the flaw that is there. Not everyone needs to go to college, and raising those concerns. Um, so, how does that relate to technology? Um, how will I integrate technology to make my instruction more effective to students? Um, One of the ways that I hope to integrate technology into my classroom in hopefully a recording arts class and also in musicianship classes will be to will be to incorporate iPad synthesizers, and so without having to spend a ton of money, we'll be able to have DX7 tones and all these other types of synthesizers that are out there that are hyper expensive. We'll be able to simulate those tones with iPads. There's software that you can buy from Arturia and other developers, software developers that emulates the tones of these really fancy, synthesizers that cost a couple $1,000s a piece, and you can have that exact same tone with just a regular keyboard that you buy for like $50 or $20. Um, so one of the ways that I hope to incorporate iPads in that is that you can hook that up to an iPad and you can hook that up to a computer and you can run that program software or that software program, um, and uh, and then you can have the synthesizer tones. So that's one of the ways that I hope to integrate technology. How else? I hope that one of the other ways that I can integrate technology is by using GarageBand and Logic to create patterns and show polyrhythms and show different um, beat groupings, and be able to sort of uh, enter discussions about how do these things look, how can we perceive them visually, in addition to perceiving them with our ears when we hear them, and how do we make sense of that? Because a lot of the time, hearing something, um, you don't necessarily not everyone visualizes what they're hearing in the same ways. And so having a visual example of that available in GarageBand or in Logic would be useful for students, I think. Very useful. Um, so that's one of the ways that I think I'll integrate technology in my music classroom, hopefully also by having sheet music on the iPad, and maybe they can be reading music off of iPads. That would be another viable alternative, and I think iPad, sheet music readers are quickly replacing um, actual sheet music, paper sheet music, which is wonderful because it means that you don't have to deal with copies or a bunch of papers flying everywhere, which is great for a teacher to think about. You're like, oh, that's awesome. I don't have to deal with all this extra paper. Um, what I think I've talked a little bit about what elements that I want to include in my music classroom. A couple of the elements are frequently using iPads, and also using certain particular programs like GarageBand and like Logic and like Pro Tools and Sibelius, Finale, these types of programs, which are Sibelius and Finale are music notation programs. Sibelius is interfaces with Pro Tools, so that's a really cool feature. You can drop stuff right from Sibelius into Pro Tools, and it will play, which is great. Why will I integrate technology? Well, why is pretty easy because it makes all these concepts, like I was saying, more visual. It makes all these concepts a little bit easier to understand. Also, it allows students to quickly design and compose their own music, and be writing music on the level of great composers, which is something that I think is really important for students to understand that they too can be composers, and the composers of the future will be them, and it's important for students to know that they have the ability to create music no matter what background they're from. And I think these software programs like Logic and GarageBand, again, they enable students to do that kind of work. One of the coolest things that I can think about is Chance the Rapper. One of his producers that he works with is like this 18-year-old kid from South Side of Chicago who records everything on his iPhone and his iPad, and he uses GarageBand, like only GarageBand. He doesn't use Logic. He doesn't use any of the fancy processing. He doesn't do any of that kind of stuff. He just does it all into GarageBand, and he makes these really intricate, amazing productions for Chance the Rapper to like rap to. And it's his stuff makes it on the radio, which is just awesome. And it just shows that anybody can do this from any level, and you can use the simplest programs, and that can get you on the radio, and you can be making money from that as a career. So that's a couple of different ways that I think make technology more effective for my students. This has been my reflection number 5. Thank you so much for watching.